a very special groundbreaking and dedication ceremony for another phase of the landing, which is brought to us by Gwendolyn Gilly Construction. We're also here to celebrate the lives of a few local heroes and honor their legacy and their families.
Greatest man that ever lived. He said these words, "Greater love hath no man than this, than to lay down his life for his friends."
Well, I got to tell you, it's a great honor to be here today. As a matter of fact, I caught a flight about 4 a.m. out of Washington, D.C. to make sure I could be here today. Landed in Montgomery and came on over. But the mayor, you're talking about people moving here and coming to this town because it's home, right? But it's things like this that create a community that invites people to come and be a part of the community. Sergeant Tim Conway. Tim was a Boy Scout in Troop 150. He was on the drill team at Enterprise High School. He was a bright light to his family. At the age of 22, Conway was seriously injured at a roadside explosion in Baghdad. He died 2 days later from cardiac arrest as he was being loaded onto a plane en route to a hospital in Germany. Before Conway died in June of 2020, he found out that he and his wife Catherine were going to have a son. He loved what he was doing. He believed in what he was doing in the Army. He always had a smile on his face, and he had that Ranger attitude, work hard, play hard attitude. When it came to work, he left it at work. When it came to his family and being home, he concentrated on family. Y'all may remember we cheered for Andrew on the Enterprise High School football field. He was a wide receiver, a track star. School officials described Han as a gusty kid with the heart of the line. After graduating Enterprise in 2004, he joined the Army National Guard. He was deployed twice as a member of Alabama National Guard before he became active duty in 2008. As an active duty soldier, he moved his wife and 2 sons to his duty station in Washington State before deploying to Afghanistan. He died in July 2010 of injuries sustained while insurgents attacked his military vehicle with an IED. Han's family returned to Enterprise, where his spirit lives on through his sons, Tristan and Gavin. When Brendan was just a boy, he saw those towers go down and he made up his mind about what to do and pursued it, said his father. Military is a tradition in the Neenan's family, his father and grandfather both serving as paratroopers. Described by friends and family as a prankster, fabulous dancer, and a guy who worked on cars. Neenan was a 2006 EHS graduate and a 2010 graduate of ESCC. Neenan was always concerned about his family. When asked what was needed when he was deployed, all he could tell his cousin was just keep in touch with his stepmother. Killed in Afghanistan in June of 2010, he died of injuries sustained while the IED detonated near his position. As a child, Ensign Watson dreamed of becoming a Marine. While that dream faded due to plantar fasciitis, he decided to become a mechanical engineer when he discovered he could measure right angles in his head. He enjoyed Enterprise High School's junior ROTC program, where he became captain of the rifle team. His dad finally remembers going to Zaxby's restaurant, where he told Caleb, who worked part-time, that he'd been accepted into the Naval Academy. He wanted to be in the military since he was 5 years old, his father said. At the Naval Academy, Joshua was a small arms instructor, a wrestling coach, and captain of the rifle team. Killed when he was wounded 6 times in class, heavily wounded by a Saudi terrorist. He went on to flag down first responders, gave an accurate description to the shooter. That's Caleb Watson.
Lord, I thank you that we've met together, gathered to remember and celebrate the life of 4 great Americans that gave their all in service to our nation. May they never be forgotten. Enterprise will not forget.
It is my honor to acknowledge the sacrifices of these fallen soldiers Their service is maintained, and our freedom is a comment that shall not be forgotten. Their courage represents that there is no threat we cannot face and no challenge that we cannot overcome.
On June the 14th, 2010, the City of Enterprise lined the streets and carried flags as Brendan's body was returned home to us after an IED claimed his life while he was on foot patrol. Today, on June the 18th, 2021, the City of Enterprise has come together again, this time to dedicate the streets at the landing to our fallen. Brendan was one of a kind. He was loving, generous, and thoughtful with a fabulous sense of humor. He was a wonderful son, brother, grandson, and loyal friend. He brought so much joy to everyone around him, and he was proud to serve his country. I know he would be humbled by this gesture that was done for him and his brothers. Brendan loved this area, and he had plans to purchase land in Coffee County when he returned from deployment. He was killed in action before that dream was fulfilled. Brendan Patrick Neenan may not have gotten his land, but Gwendolyn Gilley made sure a piece of that dream came true by giving him a street. Thank you so much for Neenan Drive and for recognizing all of our fallen and our families.
Our son died for a cause to protect our fellow Americans so that we can continue to live freely in a great country. Free to worship, free to work, free to send our children to the school of our choice. There's no place like home, and I feel lucky to have been Andrew's dad. He was a good boy, a better man, and a dedicated soldier for his country and his family.
In Pensacola, Florida, aboard a United States Navy air base, a shooter came into the building that day armed with a 9mm pistol and discharged his weapon 169 times for an extreme ideology that the only way to please his God is to punish us for our transgressions. And a gunman stepped onto the quarterdeck and immediately shot one sailor, and then immediately turned his weapon onto my son, Ensign Joshua Caleb Watson. Caleb was the officer on deck. He was charged with basic security of Building 633 that morning, and being wounded 4 or 5 times and left for dead. The gunman moved on to the international office 3 doors down and commenced to shoot 3 other sailors in that office. And Caleb, laying in the floor, hearing his sailors in peril, got up, crawled across the counter while bleeding profusely. People were coming in the door for muster. For Army folks, that's the Navy's version of roll call. And he screamed to them, "Take cover, run, active shooter." In doing so, he saved countless lives, but he gave away his position. And the shooter returned to finish what he had started and caught Caleb with a devastating blow to the back that pierced his spleen. And even mortally wounded, Caleb made it down the steps and hailed first responders and gave a dedicated and detailed description of the shooter, his last known position. And because of that, countless lives were saved. And the whole time when Caleb was being engaged by the shooter, unarmed, Caleb was lucky enough to sport what we call double E's on his chest, meaning an expert marksman in the rifle and the pistol. He was an instructor, a small instructor at the Naval Academy, and yet he was unarmed, charged with basic security, unarmed, to meet his attacker. So he did what he could only do, and that was go for help. So he did. Caleb succumbed to his injuries on the way to the hospital. Now, I always knew that Caleb was willing to put his life on the line. He was always willing to say, put me in, coach.